You don't see it, you don't hear it, you don't hear it, you don't feel it, you don't feel it. 'Cause you're alone the sign of the giant, out of sight, out of my head, the blind leading the you don't feel me, 'cause I'm above you all. The sign of the giant, out of sight, out of my head, the blind leading the sign of the giant, out of sight, out of my head, the blind leading the blind, the sign of the giant, out of sight, out of my head, the blind leading the
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Value Wrestling right here on YouTube, and it is the IWCP, the Independent Wrestling Community Podcast, where we talk about everything independent wrestling on the big time BT Baldwin. Of course, I'm here with El Uno Supremo, Mr. Z, in the house. Say hello, Mr. Z.
What is up, everybody?
And of course, ladies and gentlemen, on this very special edition, we have our very special guest. Yes, in the house tonight, Big Ugly JD Bishop once again. Welcome to the show. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us tomorrow, a busy night, but we appreciate you being here, sir.
Oh, thanks for having me. I love doing this.
So tomorrow night, we're going to get right into it. Big night for Ugly Dojo. Jackrabbit Brewery show tomorrow night. That's Friday, February 21st, 6:30. You get door time, and it's at 1232 Terminal Street in West Sacramento. All ages show. Tickets are $15. And we're going to talk about the card from top to bottom, go over it, and tell you exactly why you should be there and why you don't want to miss out on this. We have Atomic Reyes and Miko Alana going one-on-one. Not familiar with these, but if you want to give us the inside scoop on these two young talents.
Miko is from West Coast Pro Wrestling. She's one of their students. I think she just graduated the semi-pro class, I want to say. She's been working for about a little less than a year. She's I think she's really good. I think she has a lot of upside, a lot of potential in her. Or I wouldn't be using her, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She's worked for us several times, and then he worked for me at Lucha Extreme a couple times, but she's
Nice.
just getting her legs wet in the business. She started wrestling the same time Jay Maney did, so they've been kind of joined at the hip, married
Okay.
as they call it in business, for working for a while. But she's really good, man. Like I said, she's got a lot of upside.
Awesome. And Atomic Reyes.
Atomic Reyes, formerly Chris Torres, went through a transition. I've known her for years. One of the memories I have is they wrestled Abigail at Lucha Extreme, and she came back and her shoulder was hanging. She's
Mm.
like, I dislocated my shoulder, and I'm like, want me to pop it in for you? She's like, yeah. So I popped it in for her, and she went about her business. But she also from that shoulder injury, I think it got worse, and then
Hmm.
she had to have surgery on it. So she's been out for a while, just coming back in the business. One of my favorite people to have around. So she's going to be with us pretty much from now on.
Awesome, awesome. Can't wait to see that match. See both of these young ladies in action. The next big match, of course, we know both of these names. The metal mechanic Bobby Callahan coming in to take on Tim Rogan. Timmy debuting at the Vallejo show. We've seen him at the Matinee Mayhem shows, and hopefully for this show he brings that Timmy cheer section. You know, we got to get Timmy section signs made up or something. Bobby Callahan, Tim Rogan. Your thoughts on that match, sir?
I think it's a big match for Timmy. Bob's
Mm-hmm.
tough. He's one of my favorite guys. One of my main guys I use all the time. Funny thing is, I always forget Bob. I always forget when I'm naming
Yeah,
people. I always forget to say Bob. Even when I book the shows, I forget to put Bob on the list. But I always have a spot for him. I don't know what it is about him. I always forget him, but he's like one of my favorite people to have around.
yeah.
Definitely a good hand, and I always put him in there with my students because he really teaches them a lot.
No,
Timmy's doing really well. He's really over right now. People love him. He's still learning the basics and a lot of the psychology and how to move. Timmy's actually really uncomfortable in his body sometimes,
mm-hmm.
um, because he's a really shy kid,
Yeah.
but he's getting out of that character of being a little shy and timid. But Timmy's a good man. He's really fundamentally sound. His submission stuff is really good. I look forward to a big career for that kid.
No, it's going to be an awesome match, and as long as Bobby doesn't bring that big old wrench I recently gave him, everything should be okay. So we will see. Uh, Next up, who rules? Jules rules. Yes, Jules Raphael. What's up, Bishop? What's up, Brian? Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. We love to hear from y'all. Coach Jules Raphael, he'll be taking on El Flaco Loco. Hopefully, I'm wearing my Punk hoodie, but the other day I picked up the Macho Man one that is from the same brand. So hopefully, I know Flacco liked this one. Hopefully, he won't try to steal my one. I'm going to wear it tomorrow. But El Flaco Loco, very good. And Jules definitely seeming to find that pace. Another youngster that just made his debut at the last major show over in Vallejo.
Yeah, Jules has been, like I said, he's been with me for a while. Took some time off and came back. Life gets in the way, but he's back full speed now. He's in class every day. He has a beautiful baby daughter that he brings all the time. I love that little girl. And this is a big step for him because Flacco's a little older, as we all are, but Flacco's been around. Flacco's been around, and Flacco's hard to keep up with in that ring, especially when he starts doing his thing. So it's a big step for Jules, and Jules really respects Flacco a lot. So he actually asked for this match, so I
Awesome.
gave it to him, and of course Flacco was all for it. So that's the thing with this camp that I have right now. They want to work vets. They want to test themselves, So I really give them a lot of credit for that because they want to step up every time. Don't want to work each other. They want to work the names in the area.
Yes, and that's always a good thing. Miguel, I mean, Mr. Z, you know these names, El Flaco Loco, and you're getting to know Jules as we are watching and going to these shows. What are your thoughts on this match?
This is to me, this is the perfect matchup, and I mean, Ugly hit the nail on the head. These young ones don't want to work each other; they want to work veterans. They want to test themselves, and I think that's a beautiful thing. They want to learn, they want to grow, and what better way to do that than work the elder statesman?
Yeah, and
Next,
one thing I always say
go ahead.
about Flacco, I always, because I always overlook him because he's my best friend in the world. But
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people with Flacco, it's like if you're gonna have a draft, he's my number one pick, and people don't get that at first because there's guys like Kratos in the area and Thatcher and these
Mm-hmm.
guys, but Flacco does more than just wrestle. Like he can do anything. He can be the announcer. He can referee. He can commentate. He's a good PR guy. He does my videos. He does my flyers. Like he does.
Nice.
Like he probably does more for the company than I do. Except I get the ring, truck, and train people. Other than that,
Mm-hmm.
he really does everything else for me.
That's
But
awesome.
he's not definitely like that guy. That's the quiet guy behind what the dojo's doing. So I always give him credit for that because he's been probably my best friend for the last 20 years.
Awesome.
We had a year there where we were kind of at odds, but that's a whole other podcast. But we made amends, and we're good to go now, man. I love that guy to death, and this would be really, really hard to do without him.
Yes. Now, Mr. Z, I know the name Kratos come out. It's okay. You can breathe. He's not here yet. One day that call will be in, and we'll get him on the choppy Hall of Fame block. But you're good for this Friday, so I know he said Kratos, and your heart skipped a beat. Anyways, the next big match. Now, this will be a hard-hitting match, I'm sure. We've seen Travis Alexander recently do his thing, and he's going to take on Big Frost. I mean, Drake Frost, the big boy. Last show in Vallejo with Ugly Dojo, we saw Frost, Choopy, and Illuminate tied up in a three-way dance for a number one contender spot, and that match was hard-hitting. But Travis Alexander and Frost, this should be a really solid match.
Yeah, everybody knows Frost has been my guy for years. I trained him and Timmy at the same time, Thatcher at the same time. They're from the same class, and Drake's always been like one of the first guys I call when I book a show. He's like my oldest kid. He's just my boy, man. I love him to death. And when most people hear they're working Frost, they get a little timid, even though he's one of the nicest guys in the world. It's like, from our side, nobody smartened him up to the business yet, and he's taking shit personal when he gets in the ring, And we did this big old cage match one time, and me and Samurai and a couple of the guys was in there. So I said, "Hey, hold him down," and we duct taped this forearm pad on him, right, like football, like a shield guard, and thinking that would lighten up the blow. And I guess Drake thought he could hit harder now, so he's just mollywopping us. So we hold him to take it off because we're like, he doesn't have any effect. So. But when I told Travis about that, my first thought was like, he's going to be a little nervous, and he was excited.
Yeah.
Travis, he's tough. He's a tough kid. He likes to bring it. He likes to hit hard. So it's definitely going to be a good one, man. It's gonna. I'm looking forward to probably one of the matches I'm looking forward to the most on the show.
Yeah. No, I think this is going to be a hard hitting match for sure. It's going to be interesting to see the dynamics of this one because Drake's a big old boy. That's a big hoss right there,
You don't realize until you get next to him how freaking much of a mass he is, man. He's huge.
Yes.
Huge. And he can move, which is more scarier.
Oh no. That's what I was gonna say too. It's like, like I said, I've been around watching you guys since 2012, 2013, and just seeing, and over the time seeing Frost, for a big guy, moves very fast. Mm-hmm. You do not know when you look at him, you're thinking like, no way, and then when you see him move, that man's fast.
Yeah,
that's a really fast big man.
And he can get up and he can get there, and you don't play with Frost. You don't. I mean,
he's in good condition. Like, he can go. Mm-hmm. He does not want a big fat guy that can't do nothing. Like Drake's, he's a solid guy, man. He's just a big burly guy, man. And like I said, he has good conditioning, so he can go.
No, I know what it was like. I've stood in the ring with Frost announcing across from Jekyll's, a night that I'll never forget. But and then we see Frost at SPW all the time. So I mean, that's a big old boy. You said Samurai, Sir Samurai, and it looks like after the original card there was a couple matches added, and one of those matches is Sir Samurai taking on the Soul. And we know, I mean, if you know anything about Northern California independent wrestling or California, I mean, Sir Samurai making his name across the country. He's wrestled in so many different states, so many different places. And even up there, at his age, he's still out there doing this and doing it brilliantly. I mean, he has good matches with everybody, so this one should be fun.
No, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, it was a last minute booking. Samurai's always doing something. He's booked somewhere, or he's doing a fucking triathlon or something. So it's really hard to get him on my shows. He was there Saturday at the matinee show, and we were just talking, and then Joe happened to walk up, and I was just like, "Hey, if you both are free Friday, I have a match for you." So we just kind of matched it up on the fly, and Samurai's one of my longest friends too in the business. I trained him many years ago, and he doesn't age. He just, I mean, he gets gray, but he doesn't age. No, he still goes. And one thing I was talking about is like, I wish I still had that passion for being in the ring like he does. I don't have that passion to be in the ring as much anymore like he does. Like, he does not want to miss a show. If there's a show somewhere, he'll get there and be in it, and that's how we all used to be. I kind of lost that, but he's still there, man. Every time I have something, he wants to be on it, Joe was in, I think, the last the class that I was training when I left SPW as the owner and trainer, him and Kratos were in that class that I had left. So I kind of did most of their training, and then they kind of finished up when I left.
Awesome.
But Joe's another one of those guys that he's been around. He's always been a mainstay on a lot of companies. He's a West Sat guy, so of course I love using Joe on those shows.
Awesome.
But yeah, Joe's phenomenal. He's a showman. He can work his ass off, and he's one of those guys like in my locker room. If you're a good person, you're going to be in my locker room. If you're a shithead, I don't care
Yeah.
how good you are, you won't be in the locker room. So
Nice.
Joe's one of those guys that adds to my locker room. So I like to use him whenever I can.
Yeah, no, and it's great because I mean, like you may have heard on other shows, I'm actually doing some training with Samurai and Scoot, and just learning from Samurai and that notion that he is always like, when you set a goal, you get to it. For him, you do 100 matches. Now from 100, we're going to do 500, and from 500 to 10 to 1,000, and now he's shooting for 1,500 matches. And I mean, it definitely is. And in his teachings and what he says is, you got to keep pushing you for that next level, and keep going out there. And I mean, he really is an inspiration. If you are a young wrestler coming up and you get a chance to be around a name like Sure Samurai, it's definitely somebody you want to shut your mouth, open your ears, and just intake all the knowledge that he can lay on you, because there's a book's worth, a plethora of knowledge coming from that man.
Yeah. No. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you talking Sir Samurai, just the wealth of everything he's got, and I've sat in and have sat and listened to this man speak and listened to hear him critique everything, and not just that. And I mean, for a big guy like myself, I mean, he is that benchmark for me to look up to as far as when it comes to triathlons. I think if he could do it, I could do it, and that's just kind of like what has bred me through the racing that I've done, is just watching him do it. I'm like, if he could train and get in there and do what he does, why can't I?
Yeah. When I said to come back to SPW for my last match, was it 2 years ago? I think it's 2 years ago we did that I Quit match. I had heard some I don't want to name names, but vets in the area just really bad mouthing him and just talking down about him, and I usually don't get in the mix of that stuff. But Samurai's like my guy. He's one of my students. I wouldn't have gave him the company if I didn't think that he could have took it over, But so when I came to come back, I wanted him to be in my last match, because I wanted him to prove to everybody that he's what I've said he is for a long time. He's one of the better workers. He's good. He's really highly underrated, and he's fucking, and he kind of does it to himself sometimes. But he's his own worst enemy when he wants to work a greenhorn instead of a name. That's on him. You're the booker of the company, dude. You should be bringing in names for yourself. But anyways, besides the point. But I wanted to do that I Quit match, and I just thought it was important that I did it with him, because I really wanted people to see him shine and do his thing and see he can go toe to toe and he can do those things. And at the end of the match, we were both in tears because it was legit. It was legit, like love and respect for each other, and I always have respect for that guy. I fuck with him and Scoot all the time because they're my students, and I always will. But those are my kids, man. I love them to death, and I said I wouldn't work with SPW so much if I still didn't have that much respect for those guys. So I just think that I still enjoy his work. Sometimes a little bit of comedy, too much comedy for me, but he can still go, man. That's why I want him to be serious, because he has a lot more to offer,
Yes.
But he still got some gas in the tank, man. Him and Flocka both got gas in the tank, and I got to give him credit for that.
Exactly. Yeah. We got some tag team matches on this card. We got the Gator Boys of Bobby Bayou and Brian Joseph. They're going to take on Lou Devereaux and Cairo Leone. This is going to be a good match. The Gator Boys, a team getting that groove. We've seen them a couple times together, and that's going to be fun. And, of course, the Boogie Woogie Man, Lou Devereaux, is always a fun to see. Great talent in the ring. And then the young Cairo Leone, I mean, this kid, if you're a fan of New Day, if you're a fan of Kofi Kingston, I think there's a lot in a Cairo Leone where if he learns and just hones his craft, he could be comparable to the next Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, no, definitely. Cairo came and trained with us a while back. He was coming on Tuesdays, and he was really really solid. He had grown from so we had a couple of joint trainings at the other place, and him and Bishop had a match, and it was actually pretty bad. But they were both really great. Neither one of them had a match yet, and it was pretty bad. And then you fast forward a few months, and they're both tearing it up. Cairo, I think he has a lot. Got to get some size on him, but every time he works, there's a couple of things I'll tell him you should probably change. But I think he needs to get out more. get himself out more, and just travel and do things. And NorCal's a small place, man. I mean, it's a big place, but there's not a lot of spots for people on shows,
Yeah.
on big shows. So I think he's one of those guys that could benefit from like going to Oregon or going to down south or going to other places to spread his wings a little bit, and work some more talent,
No, I think all
And
these,
then Lowe,
all four of these guys are great. But
yeah, Lowe's been one of my guys for a while, and he didn't really want to be babyface when he first came to me, but I made him be babyface, and now he's fucking so over, and he loves it. He loves the dance and doing all that stuff, and he's one of the highlights of our show, And I tell him that all the time, like, dude, like this totally changed your career, because he's just one of these guys that's just likable. That just people just like, and he's a good time when he comes out there, and then he goes in the ring and backs it up. I put him in there with Illumide and all these top guys, and he's pulled through every time, had a great match every time. So I'm definitely really happy with that guy. I'm proud of that guy. Now the other two Gator boys, Brian was in this last class that just graduated, and it was just weird. Out of the blue, he just got this charisma, like he does this with his eyes, and he does all this shit, and he's one of these guys that I'll say something, and then he does it in the match. Like I'll say, you got to do this, and then he does it in the match, and it's over.
Right.
He just picks it up really quick, like really, really quick, and he's fucking definitely dedicated. He's there every night, like he don't miss, like he very rarely misses a camp,
That's good.
Bobby Bayou has played football for me years ago, so I
All
knew
right.
him for a few years. He came in the first class with Bishop, and it was the same way. At first, he struggled a bit because the conditioning was really rough. And then he just started picking it up, and now he's like the leader of this Gator boy. Well, Jaya too, but he's just taken to it, and he's a big kid. He's really strong. He's got really good psychology, and he's like I always call him Randy for some reason, but Brian,
Yeah.
I don't know why I call him Randy. I don't know where they got the name from, but they just both pick it up, the psychology and the working, the gimmick. They just got it just like that. And they're really going to be a really good tag team, and tag team is one of my specialties. So they're just picking up the stuff I'm telling them really, really quick.
No, they look like a solid tag team. I'm sure Brian will be happy to be in the ring with anybody but you this time.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that kid's a tough fucking kid, man. Because I was laying into him, and he just.
Oh yeah. No, that was a solid match at Vallejo. That was a solid match, that boy. But he went in there and did what needed to be done, and he held his head high afterwards. So I mean, all the respect to take that dance.
Not to pull the curtain back on that match, but I know we give the business away anyway. So the matches, we were all supposed to be babyface on babyface with this, except for Jaya and Timmy, obviously. So me and Brian are working and doing our thing, and the people are cheering for me more for him and less for him. So there's one point where he's got me in the corner, and I told Bree, tell him to go heel, and she told me he came over and just that quick went into a heel, and that was his first match. He just that quick and got it, and then we had a great match, and that's the kind of shit that you can't teach. You can't teach that stuff.
No.
When they just pick it up that quick. And I put a lot of it to they're not teenagers. They're not like 18, 19 years old. They're older kids,
Yeah.
I call them kids because I'm an old man, but they're in their early 20s, so to me they're kids, but they're older, so they're adults. They've lived life, so they just pick up these things quick, man. I just that's the kind of shit that I really can't take credit for. It's just they just pick it up.
Yeah, no, it's a lot easier when you're that young. I know for me, I have a few stumbling blocks being a little older, trying to get into this. And trying to change a lot of thought patterns that, you get ingrained as you get older. You just kind of become the way you are. And then when somebody tries to teach you a different thing and you're trying to get your brain to go, no, we got to do it this way. It gets a little harder when you're young and it's pliable and you don't have some bad habits or just some things that you do that you don't know you do. It's a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I guess the East Bay Tag Team titles are going to be on the line at the show tomorrow night. Am I understanding that correctly? The All Day Crew, Aiden Andrews, Brian Kuza, two young men who are definitely coming up, who definitely are going to make a really solid tag team. I think this will definitely be a high year. They won tag team gold just recently at an East Bay Pro Wrestling show. They're defending these titles tomorrow night. Great kids. I think they have something very special. Once they get that thing, once they get their thing together, they get it all solid. I think they'll be great. But of course, they're going to have a big challenge, and I'm sure you're excited to talk about this. They're going to be taking on Ugly Dojo to defend those titles.
Yeah, when East Bay presented me with the opportunity to battle for their tag belts, because I've only wrestled for one East Bay title in my whole life, and that was against JJ or JMM about a year ago. So I've never really got to wrestle for one of their belts, but then to tell me they can do it on my show against me and Abigail, like, I'm like, hey, I mean, I have no problem winning a belt, winning a tag belt. I'll
Yeah.
be there next Saturday this Saturday Bishop's
Yeah.
going to be wrestling there, so I'll be there with their belts, I guess. But I'm when I first saw those two kids, they came in and trained with me a little bit. You can definitely tell there was something there,
Mm-hmm.
and then once we kind of they were back with SPW and we weren't really training much except in the garage on the floor on the mats. They didn't come for a while, and then when they finally came back and were in the ring training with us, you just seen the growth that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And they had worked a couple shows for me, but you just saw them grow just so much in a matter of months, and they still continue to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Really good kids, man. They're solid. Kuz is probably one of the harder workers I've seen.
Yes.
He works, man. He works hard, and it's a shame that
Mhm.
he's the small guy in that team because Aiden's so overpowering. He's a big kid.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to work him in a one-on-one match, and I would love to work Kuz in a one-on-one match too. But I would love to work Aiden in a one-on-one match because he's one of those big burly guys. He reminds me a lot of a younger Frost,
Yeah.
in a way. Just a big kid. He can move and he can go. But I was just like, yeah, if you guys want to defend those belts against me and Abigail, I mean, we're both have been doing this longer. We're more seasoned. We've been actually a team longer. Me and Abigail have teamed a lot, mostly up in Oregon. So I'm like, you guys have every disadvantage, and then you're at our fucking place. I'm like, you guys have every disadvantage in the world, but if you guys want to defend those belts against us, let's do it. I'm all for it. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm really looking forward to it. I worked them once again with Bishop,
Mm-hmm.
but now I got my oldest with me. I'm like, shit, that's let's do it, man. Let's fucking rock. So I'm like, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm like, yeah, I'm excited for this one.
No, this will be a fun one, and of course the two boys. I mean, like we love them, we support them. I think they have something. They just have to find that last little piece to it, and I think they will be a dominant team. I think they're going to have a great 2025. Don't have a crystal ball, but I feel that this may be a really big year that they're over with SPW, and we've seen them work both sides, face and heel. So it's been really fun that they can pull both those off real easily. So this will be a great tag match. And of course, this tag match was originally, you weren't slotted into that. The Young Final Chapter was originally in there, but things changed and spot came open. And I wonder if Bishop's still here because I want to know how he feels now that he's been thrown in this match with a man that we there's not enough words we can put out for this man. I mean, why he's not assigned to a New Japan or TNA or AEW or WWE. I mean, he should be under this WWE ID program too, along with those other names. But I mean, the Obsidian Adonis, the Dart Fox, Illumide, is just a special challenge. And the fact that the final chapter, Bishop Dorian's going to get to do the dance with him tomorrow night. This is going to be a heck of a match. You can't sleep on Bishop. I mean, he's still young, but I mean, he's definitely, an old chip off the block per se to go old school. But I mean, he's definitely stepping in there with the upper echelon talent. It's going to be something special.
Yeah, Illumina I've known for a few years. Always tried to do work with him. He was only doing certain companies for a while, and then we started doing Dojos. I was finally able to get him on our bigger shows, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about the dude. He has it, and I'm the same as you. I'm surprised he's not signed yet, or at least ID'd, or on that one of
Mm-hmm.
the fucking new shows they have. The dude's legit, man. He's fucking good. He's one of those guys what I call figured in. When I book a show, I automatically put him on the sheet. Sometimes he can, sometimes he can't do it because he's so
Mm-hmm.
sought after. But yeah, I mean, you look at him; he has it all. He can talk. He has the look. He has the ability in the ring. His moveset is fucking solid. With the
Mm-hmm.
stuff he does, he just has it, man. And when I seen him on AEW, he fits the part. He looks like he's
Yes.
supposed to be there. And I don't know what the deal is. Why he hasn't had a bigger showing out. Him and Xavier's the same way too. I
Mm-hmm.
love Jason Xavier's one of my favorite guys. I'm kind of uh, selfish where I hope they don't get seen because I don't want
Yeah.
to lose those guys. But on
Oh,
the
yeah.
other end, I want them to go get signed, and do their thing because they're so good and they deserve it. But yeah, I think Illuminate is fucking the real deal, and it's a big challenge for Bishop. Like he has the same attitude that I try to instill in my students. Like if that opportunity presents himself and you get to wrestle the best guy on the card, you better be jumping to your feet to take the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, that's what I did. I was like, I don't want to wrestle my best friend on the show. I want to wrestle the best guy on the card.
Yeah.
Win or lose, you're going to learn and get better. So when I asked Bishop about it, he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it. Definitely, I'll do it." He was excited. I think the nerves are settling in a little bit. He's coming over tonight, so I think we were at the gym yesterday, and he was. I think he just, yeah. So
Yeah.
what does Illuminate like to do? And he's trying to find his videos and stuff, and he's a little nervous because it's a big challenge for him. For Illuminate,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably just another day.
Yeah.
He's doing what
No
Illuminate's gonna do what
hits.
Illuminate does. I know. I mean, Illuminate. He's
Yeah.
that guy. Like when he wrestled
Yeah.
Titus, there was no. He wasn't different. He was just like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's just another day for him. And that's the way wrestlers should be.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this is just another match for me. I'm gonna go in there and do the best I can, regardless of who I'm in there with. And for Bishop, it's a big challenge. And
Yeah.
what Illuminate's got to understand though is like, Bishop wins. Not only does he get a push, but we're going to question Illuminate's credibility now. So he better come ready to play because
Well,
it's Bishop's hometown. Like we live here in West Sac, so he's going to have
yeah.
a lot of his family there, and it's gonna be interesting.
No. And of course, Bishop jumped in the chat and said he doesn't have words at this moment, so I'm sure he's really contemplating what he's stepping into. And it's awesome. And again, Illuminate's got to be careful because, after Vallejo and that triple threat with Chupi, El Chupacabra, and Big Drake Frost, he came out victorious. He is considered the number one contender for the heavyweight belt here, and he can't overlook the challenge because it's not just Bishop's not just a stepping stone. He's definitely going to come in there, and it would be a huge upset if Bishop were able to pin that, get that 1-2-3. What would that say about the final chapter? That would elevate him to a whole new level. But it's going to be a solid match. A lot riding on the outcome.
And that three-way, both the guys that he was in there with are on the show too, so
Mm-hmm.
they may be a little upset and want to serve some justice as well and make him look bad. And so we'll see. It's going to be interesting either way.
Yes. Yes. And speaking
Yeah, I
of
was
one,
gonna say
go ahead.
I was going to say you did. I was going to say not only it's just one of those things, like you said, chip off the old block. Working like his dad. You can't, like you said, you can't sleep on Bishop. You can't. There's no way. Illuminate needs to go in there and look at this as he can't look at it just another opponent.
Yeah,
because all it's going to take is one mistake for him to capitalize on it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
No, it's solid. And of course, speaking of one of those men in the three match, we talked about Drake Frost earlier, and we haven't gotten to this one, but yes, the Mexican werewolf El Chupacabra, he's got a match, and he's going to take on a young man that we've seen at the Matinee Mayhem show who's got a lot of talent too. The Flyboy Andrew Cass. This is going to be a fun match because this is probably going to be turned up a little bit. Andrew Cass is definitely going to keep Chupi moving, and Chupi can move even at his age. But this is going to be a fun one. I know Mr. Z is excited always to see Chupi. We love Chupi more than anything. We met him back at Realm of Warriors show, and we really got excited to hopefully someday get up to Reno and work one of his shows and be there and see how he does stuff. But we always love seeing Chupi on a show.
Yeah, I have such a huge history with Choop. When he started training with me, he was originally a backyarder, and then he came down and started training with me. And I definitely looked at his. To this day, I still look at him as a son. He started me when he was really young. He was actually the girl, his wife now, was just his girlfriend at the time. And we were with each other through a lot of hard times on both of our sides.
Mm-hmm.
So we formed this really bond. Like he's like, just I consider him my son, and along with my other kids, he's a kid of mine,
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing, well, there's a couple things about you. One of them is when I'm in the ring with him, he doesn't treat me like his trainer. He fucking brings it, man. He makes me go, and he brings the best out of me every time. No matter what we're doing, he makes me work hard, which I really respect. The other thing with Chuba is he proves me wrong all the time. I told him originally, don't lose your mask because the fucking paint's not gonna work. And he made it work. I told him, don't do this. He did it. And he fucking made it work. And every time I tell him something's not gonna work, he does it and it fucking works, you know. The thing where he pisses on people, I fucking hate it. He does it and it's over, you know. It's just shoot, you know. He's you know, I think like I wish he could have been able to like go out more, travel more, go to Mexico, go to all these places. But he's similar to me, where being a father is more important than being a wrestler, you know. So, but you know, for the impact he's had on this area, it's just you can't even put a value on it. He's just so fucking good, man.
Yeah.
Cass worked for me at the other building like once or twice. The problem we're having with Cass is East Bay was running the same days as us when we were doing our Vacaville shows, and same thing with Oasis. Like, and Next Level, like for some reason the dates just always conflicted. And I very rarely let anybody do double shots on my show because it doesn't work out good for one of the other companies, you know. So I've liked Cass. I think he's really highly overlooked by a lot of people. He puts in good work, man. He's just a good, solid worker. I'm hoping we can keep using him on our bigger shows as well. But I've told him if I have a show I would like you on it, just tell me if there's any conflicting dates. So I've been pretty lucky so far to have him on my show. So it's going to be definitely. This was one of the ones when I put together. I was like, yeah, this is one of those ones as a booker that I want to see. You know, normally you do shit for the fans. I fuck the fans on this one. I want to see this match. So, you know, I have the power to do it. So I'm going to make it happen. You know, I think it's going to be definitely a good match. A good matchup for these two.
No, it should be something special. And Mr. Z, you know, Choopy going back, and it's Chupacabra. If you're listening to this and you wonder why, but when you get to know Choopy, it just becomes Choopy. But Mr. Z, you know, what are you feeling?
You know what? This is one of those matches where it's prepare for amazement at that point because one, Andrew Cass, you know, solid dude, and then you got El Chupacabra, Chupi. I mean, even for his best, and I mean, man, the fans are in for a treat.
Yes, no.
That's point blank. Fans are in for a treat on this one.
Well, I mean, every match on this card has something special to it. I mean, there's names, and there's the upcoming names. Every one of these matches is worth the $15 to get in the door, and there's no doubt about it. I promise you, at the end of the night, you're gonna go talking about somebody on this show, and you're gonna want to see them again. And every name on here has something special about them, and they're just exciting to watch. Whether you're watching them at a Matinee Mayhem show, or an Ugly JoJo show, or somewhere else. I mean, it's always great. But this show, Ugly, I mean, just you bring one of the best cards together, book really solid these matches because they're always like, ooh, that's going to be good. Oh, that's going to be good. It's almost like a card of which match is going to be best because you're like, oh, that's going to be a good match. Oh, but that's really going to be good. So, I mean, it's always fun.
I've been blessed with the people I get to work with. You know, the people that want to work for me. You know, I've been really, really blessed with a lot of the opportunities I get for people to be on my shows. And sometimes it surprises me. Like I said, Illuminate called me out of the blue on this show. And I'll say off the air why it's surprising to me. But it was just a shock, you know, and I was just really surprised. And I get it all the time. Like Vinny will call me at the last minute. Hey, bro, can I get on the show? And, you know, with Vinny, it's just hard sometimes, you know, to use Vinny sometimes. But he's one of the best in the area. You know, so it's really hard to use certain people sometimes, but I'm just really blessed with the guys that either the guys who've worked with me for years who want to give back, or the guys who respect me enough to just want to be on my shows. And then I think I have a good mind for matching people up. So yeah, I just been really blessed with this opportunity, man, and I'm just so happy that I'm back doing the booking.
Yeah, no, it's a solid card. I mean, top to bottom, and of course, the main event of the evening is going to be a fun one. The Ugly Dojo championship match. Surza going to put that title on the line against Scoot Robertson. This is going to be a really solid match. This is going to be an interesting match, and I'm sure, again, speaking of Illuminate, he is sitting in that number one contender spot. So I'm sure he's going to be watching what's going down in this match, and this is going to be a lot of fun. Surza, Scoot Robertson.
Yeah, you know, some people may know, may not know. Scoot started training with me when he was like 15 years old, just a baby, you know. Came in reffing for me and doing a lot of stuff, and then now he's turned into this fucking amazing owner of a company, you know, and book or whatever he does. You know, they're in the management there at SPW. He's done so much for that company, more than I did with it, you know. And you got to respect that, you know. We haven't got to. Scoot's probably one of the 5 guys in NorCal I had never been in the ring with. I've never wrestled 1-on-1. Even though as long as we've both been doing it around here, him and like Boyce LeGrand's. I've never wrestled 1-on-1 in a match. But I'm very blessed that Scoot wants to give back, kind of for me using his students, giving his students work. He's like, if you need me on a show, and I was like, I have a spot. I have a spot I would like to use you on. And it happened to be this Friday. He's done the matinee shows, but Surza is man, that's my guy. Like, dude, I love Surza, and I've always been a fan of his work. He's one of those guys too that I thought was highly underutilized at a lot of companies. People would use him because he's a good wrestler, but never give him a push. And right when we decided to do this tournament, he was the first guy I wanted in it. He was so good. He's just so good. Brings a lot to the table, man. He can work anything and anybody. Gets the story across that I want. If I have any story in the match I want, I just tell him and it's fucking done. There's no argument. There's no fucking nothing. He's a total good hand, man. He's just a company guy. He's one of those guys that call me, hey, I'll do the show. And I'm like, hey, man, I don't really have a lot of money. I'll do it for free because I respect you, He's just like, he's one of those guys that has my back, and I always have his. But yeah, Surza's just the real deal, man. And when I match him up with people, the matches, they're always good. He just tears it up with whoever's in there with, and I put him in there with some people where I'm like, this ain't gonna be too good, and then Surza makes it look really good, man. So he's my boy, man. I don't want to say boy, but he's my man, And I definitely one of the bigger parts of our company, man.
No, he's solid. We saw him over at the Vallejo show when he took on Jason Xavier. They had a solid match. Seeing Jason Xavier for that first time for me in singles competition, definitely. I was wondering, but I mean, in that match, it really elevated Xavier to be like, yeah, this young kid could go, because even though he's a part of the Appeal, one of the premier stables in the area. I mean, I know the Appeal gets used all over, and when you look at him, that's a talented group. I mean, if you want to talk about trying to create a stable that is horseman-like, I think, when you got those boys together, and then you sprinkle in the younger Jack Tracy, who's, really getting a lot of advantage from being a part of that group. It's great things. But Surza and Jason Xavier's match was incredible, and seeing Jason Xavier one-on-one really opened my eyes to say this young man's got a lot of talent too in the business. But Surza, Scoot Robertson, that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a hell of a night. Ugly Dojo, Jack Rabbit Brewery in West Sacramento. That's 1232 Terminal Street in West Sac. All ages, $15. Doors open at 6:30. So if you want to come out and get some great wrestling action tomorrow night, get warmed up for the big weekend. There's going to be some other great wrestling shows going on this weekend. IWCP Pro Wrestling is having a big show on Saturday evening. And, of course, me and the big man, we're going to be working thanks to Ugly. He kind of helped us get the introduction to some of the people behind the scenes at CW, California Championship Wrestling. So we're going to be taking in their event for the first time and working with them and seeing what we can do to help elevate them even. And how we can, help them and they can help us, and we can all work together, because this is really about is helping one another and getting everybody out there and getting everybody known, because, it really irks me when I see people write articles about, Northern California independent wrestling or California independent wrestling that doesn't exist. And it's like, no, it's here. It exists. There's a lot of companies, there's a lot of great talent. And if you're complaining that all these companies are using the same talent, I would tell you maybe you need to look at it through a different lens. It just means this talent is that good that everybody wants a piece of that talent.
Yeah, that individual that wrote that post or whatever, remind me to talk to you tomorrow about that. I don't want to give him a push on there, but
yeah, no,
I'll talk to you. I wanted to. I just forgot about it last time.
You're all good.
Yeah, so just make sure you remind me tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But yeah. We love what we're doing, and we try to keep ourselves humble and open and just available to do anything we can to support. Because again, if people, we can go back even into the old days. Independent wrestling is just a different version of the territories. Back in the early days, back in the days, it was territories. It was different companies that ran different areas. It's the same thing nowadays, and everybody's got to start somewhere. There isn't a talent in WWE, AEW, TNA, or any of these big promotions that didn't start somewhere and come through indie federations and get their name. And I mean, look at what the formal Zack Ryder has done. Matt Cardona, I mean, he's gone back to the indie scenes and made it hot. But here in California, we've got some great talent, and if you think it's not there, I just don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I see a lot of people, promoters in NorCal pushing, saying that they want to help NorCal, they want to do what's best for NorCal. However, your actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
If you're truly for NorCal, show me. If you're truly for NorCal being your company being the dominant force in NorCal, I get it. I understand it's business, but if you're going to say that, well, you're here to support NorCal and push NorCal, then show me that you are. I love the dojo. I love what we do, but I try to make it welcome for everybody. I let people defend their belts on my shows. You guys have been there in my booking meetings
Yeah.
or my production where I'm telling them, make sure you say the name of their company, where they're from, where they're representing. I tell the wrestlers, wear your fucking shirt to the ring. Let's get all of our name out there, because if you're Bishop and you're wrestling Illuminate and Bishop comes out with the Ugly Dojo shirt on, whoever's an Illuminate fan is going to say, what the fuck's the Ugly Dojo? And vice versa. Illuminate, he's representing, I forget the name of that company, WCF, or what's the name of that company?
West Coast Wrestling Federation? Yeah, WCWF, yes.
I forget that name all the time. But
No.
he comes out with that shirt on and he's wrestling Titus. People that know are watching Titus and go, well, who the fuck is this guy? What's this company about? So it helps everybody get out there, and like I said, I show up to shows just to help out people out, help them agent matches, and just to hang out with most of these promoters are my friends. I went and hang out with Maynard Skinner last weekend, and he's a good friend of mine. I go and hang out with Justin from Next Level, because he's a good friend of mine, So, and then Samurai and Scoot, those are my boys. So it's like I go just to hang out with my friends and support and help the young talent. Not saying I'm holier than thou, but I just feel a lot of people saying that it's about NorCal wrestling, but they're not proving it. And I just wish more people would prove it. If you want to be on an island, that's cool. You don't have to hate on other people. You don't have to shit on other people. Worry about your product, do your product. But we really there's so much fucking talent around here, man. And I'm just like, I'm always waiting to see who's going to be the next guy to make it out of here. Who's the next guy to going to make it big, And when I started doing stuff, like we talked about it before, doing this movie thing that I'm doing.
Yeah.
I had so many people just start hitting me up out of the fucking blue. Hey, boss, how you doing? What's going on with this movie thing? And I'm like, well, you could be an extra. I'm trying to take care of the guys that I have had my back this whole time, but I put it out there to everybody in NorCal. If you want to come be an extra, come be an extra. And there were some people that I had auditioned for the movie that I told them to audition for these certain roles. But I'm just doing this because I'm getting a good payout from it. Don't get me wrong, but I really want them to highlight some NorCal wrestling. And I have some guys coming down to help me train those actors, which is going to be a frustrating day for me. But I'm just having people who not just my guys coming in to help that day. And are going to help the days that we film. So it's I just really want it to grow. I just really want it to grow when these guys make it. Like for example, when I ran into Jeff Cobb last time, he just telling me thank you for all the stuff he does for NorCal. And Jeff wasn't one of my guys. I used him on some shows, but he's just thanking me for the stuff that I did here. Same thing with there's a bunch of names I don't want to name drop, but same thing when I was at a Gorilla show. The AW guys came down, and guys who were just walking up to me, man, thanks, bro. I heard you're retiring. Thank you for everything you've done. And that just meant a lot because they were the guys coming up, and now they're doing fucking big things. So I know that when they come back home, they're going to help the next generation, and that's what I think we need to make more of what we are. When I ran into Will Hobbs at the BTW show, Bishop sitting next to me, and he walks up, "What's up, OG?" Gives me a hug, and then he grabs Bishop's shoulders, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, little man?" And Bishop's like, "How does he know me?" I was just like, "What? You're on my page, and he follows us, dude. He called you OG, like you know him." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I told you, like we tagged before, like I fucking will." And he just doesn't get it because they're big stars, but they were local guys at one point. He put two and two together, and but that was really cool that Will knew who he was, But so I just hope that people, like, I wish the younger generation can see that, because some of this young group is going to make it big time, and I just want them to see that that's how those guys are. Like when Timmy comes back, he's just home. He's
Mm-hmm.
not Tim Thatcher, former NXT star. When Titus comes back, he's not Titus Alexander, star from Noah. He's just fucking Titus, you know. When all those guys come back, they're our guys, you know.
Yeah.
So I just hope that I would want this younger generation to see that you can make it big, but just remember where you came from, and that's still your home, you know.
No, and it's great to see, and there's several things to kind of go through. But I mean, the younger kids just looking at some of these talents that are coming home, and when you get the opportunity to see a Timothy Thatcher come in into the area and work and be a part of what they're going on, and to go back to what we were saying, if NorCal independent wrestling isn't great, then why is WWE ID pushing their people through? You know, SPW had just 3, not 1, but 3 WWE ID guys, and that's going to continue to go on for how long we don't know. As everything with that, but I mean, if there wasn't something here, if WWE wasn't watching, and that's the other thing with all these great young kids, there are people that are watching, and when you can get close to that's a great place to be. Now, as far as other companies, you know, we love independent wrestling, and we love getting to know all these different companies and working with them, and trying to do whatever it is, whether it's just coming and you know, promoting a show or whatnot. But you know, there's a couple companies out here that I don't know. They want to make promises and guarantees, but they also feel like they more want to take over the world. And I'm like, I get business. I get you might want to be the best. You want to put out the best product, and that's awesome. But I'm always a believer. You got to be careful on whose feet you step on. You know, don't bite the hand that feeds you. All that good stuff. But I mean, you know, it is what it is on some of that.
But from a promoter standpoint, if you're the top dog, you should want the other companies to prosper, because then you have people to pull from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if your company AYZ and you're doing television and all this shit, you know, you have a group of guys, you should want to pull from local guys that are getting polished at other companies, you know. So you should do it because it benefits you. You should help out because it benefits you, you know.
Yeah.
And some companies do, you know, but I don't know, man. I just look at it as like, you know, if any of us were that big of a fucking deal, we wouldn't be here, you know.
No.
So we might as well make NorCal grow, you know.
No, and that's the key. I mean, we can go back when WWE and we go back to the 90s when I fell in, well, it's the 80s, but into the 90s when wrestling really boomed between WWE and WCW. Once WCW was gone, WWE kind of really did float by. They didn't have the pressure. They didn't have a challenger. And we see what that does if you don't have somebody that's pushing you to be better. And that's what a lot of these companies should be. Work together, yes, but you're all trying to make one another better and make each product better and make each other important.
Yeah, definitely.
And of course, yeah, we know about the movie, and of course, we told you whatever we need to do, even if it's just sweeping up in the back, you know, whatever we have to do, you know, whatever we could do to help. We're always excited just to pitch in and be a part of anything that's an available opportunity for us just to learn new stuff. It's always fun. So that's going to be exciting.
Bring me aspirin and a beer the day I'm training the celebrities or the actors, please.
Well, just tell me what your favorite beer is. We'll bring you a 12-pack and we'll go.
They're fucking giving me well, see, they were talking to me about how we're gonna do this, and when they finally told me that they're not using wrestlers for the movie, I was like, so how are they gonna do the stuff? Like, well, we're gonna show them. I'm like, who's gonna show them? Like, so they finally, I was like, you're gonna play? Are you a fucking wrestler? And so she messaged me. She's like, well, I want to hire you as a consultant and a trainer. So how long will it take you to get these guys ready for the movie? And I was like, well, fucking, how long do we have till we film? You know, like, I was like, and she's like, well, we want to do it in like a couple days.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, listen, man, I don't know if you know how this works, but if these guys train a week with me, they're not getting ready to film on Saturday because they're going to be beat the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I told her what I thought would be best. And so basically I have 1 day, 2 sessions in 1 day to get them ready for 3 matches of filming. So they're doing, the whole movie is match 1 and then a couple episodes match 2 and then the final episode match 3.
Yeah.
But I kind of have a plan. But yeah, I'm dealing with guys who probably don't like wrestling. It's a fucking joke. You know, so the first session is probably going to be a lot of people getting stretched, and then showing them basically what I think they can do. And some of the stuff in the script, I'm like, we're not going to be able to do that because there's not enough time. And, you know, so we'll see, man. You know, I'm going to make the best of it. And, you know, my name's on it, so I want it to be successful.
Yeah.
I'm playing the referee in the movie as well. So I get a movie credit for that.
Nice.
So I think this will be my second, fourth time in a film or movie. So I'm excited. This one, my name will be printed in it though. The other ones I was
There
just
you
in
go.
the background. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun either way. You know, I'm looking forward to the whole process. And actually, that whole month of March, there's so much shit going on. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do the 31 day vlog thing again, where I vlog every day, because we just have so much shit going on that day. And then April, hopefully we're doing in the Fairfield Mall, or if not, at least at Three Oaks. We're also trying to work out this deal because they're filming the movie at Three Oaks. They
Yes.
rented it out for 2 days, so we're trying to. We're done with filming at 6:30, so we're trying to have them let us do a show after that to help us pay for our costs and stuff. And they were going to work a deal out something else anyway. So I'd rather just be able to throw a show on at the end of that since they're not using the building anyways.
And
But
that's a great way to close that out too, because I mean, you might have a lot of people that you need to come in and you can put on a real wrestling show. But I mean, I can say I've done a little bit of training. I'm not going to say, but I mean, you know, you get in there and those first few days, it's not those, you know, you hit those ropes, you're going to get bruised. You hit that mat, you're going to get a little bruised. You're going to get a little beat up.
Yeah.
I don't care how careful you try to do it. It's still it's there. And it's not something you can just pick up overnight for most people. I mean, I'm sure maybe there's a couple prodigies that just, you know, they get it and run with it, but it's not something you're just going to understand in a couple hours of training.
Yeah, no, definitely. When they told me that, I was kind of like, well, I mean, they're movie people, you don't get it, and probably think wrestling's a joke. And it was funny because when they were talking about the movie, they're like, well, it's a comedy, and they're like, and we know you don't like to do comedy wrestling. I was like, how the fuck do you know that? So, well, people told us. What the fuck are you guys talking about? I was like, well, yeah, you're right, but I mean, hey, it's your dime. You're gonna pay me. You fucking stick a banana up your ass on TV. I don't give a fuck. It's your movie. It's your movie. Just pay me to be the ref. You know, just don't have me pull it out. You know, but I was like, do your thing, man. I'll do whatever you guys need me to do. You know, so we'll see, man. I mean, like I said, I'm more looking forward to the process than the actual finished product. You know.
No. And like we always say, we're always there to help because we like to learn and be a part of anything, and it helps us grow. But you know, yes, you're going to do 30 days, so make sure you go over to his Facebook, and then or at least go to YouTube, Ugly Dojo on YouTube, right?
Yeah, Ugly Dojo on YouTube.
Follow along in the Ugly Dojo so you can keep up with what's going on, because he's going to tell you maybe what's going on, or he's going to give you some inside knowledge about the business. I mean, heck, right now you're putting out some great content that's just fun to watch. I mean, one of my favorites up here, I've got his pop, I've got his action figure. I mean, I bought this shirt I'll wear tomorrow, but Piper. I mean, the videos you're putting up and hearing Piper. And I miss Piper. Piper was one of the greats. I don't know if he got enough credit for how talented he was, how he could get under somebody's skin. I mean, there was just something that was great. And just to think that, you know, your connection to Piper, that you got to spend time around Piper in any form or way. I mean, it's like that's something special. You know, maybe the younger talent don't know because they don't, you know, unless they go back and really watch it and really find out who Piper was. And I mean, Piper, win, lose, or draw, will always be the first main event of WrestleMania against Hulk Hogan. And I mean, that's
one of the only guys Hogan never pinned.
Yeah.
You know, he's a great guy, man, and he taught me so much, and he taught me a lot about the actual business of how to handle your business as a wrestler. And I mean, I guess that's a whole other podcast as well. But yeah, he was just a good guy, man, and the fact that he looked at me as a friend was just meant so much to me because growing up, it was him, Flair, and the Road Warriors. That was my favorite guys.
Yeah.
Watching, and just I was such marks with those guys. But Piper was always my guy, man, and to meet him and to have him like my work, and the one time the one thing that always meant more than anything anybody's ever told me in the business, he said, "Champ, I would pay to watch you work." And like, man, I was sitting there with the Blanches going, "Holy fuck, dude!" That's like, and he could have been saying that just to gas me up a little bit, you know. But the fact that he would just say that to me was like, "Holy shit, man! This is like my idol," and he's letting me do my thing, and he just lets me work, man. And it was just awesome. He had me cut a promo one time. He said, "Go in there and cut a promo." And he goes, "Go 20 minutes." I'm like, fucking 20 minutes on TV? And he's like, we'll cut out what you don't. He goes, "Just get in your groove." So I go on there and I'm saying this stuff, and I start talking about how, you know, I'm a Roddy Piper guy. I'm one of the few people that believe Roddy Piper's the real reason WrestleMania sold out. And I was just putting him over. he cut all that off the air. He goes like, I don't want to hear that bullshit. So I was like, dude. He's like, I'm for real. I'm serious. He's like, no, I know it's true, but I don't want to fucking hear it.
So we should say, before people came out and said they were Paul Heyman guys, we could say Big Ugly was a Piper guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, Piper was great, and Piper, I guess, is kind of like you. One reason Piper may not gotten as big as he did, or didn't get the titles in the time he did, is he was another man that was more about family. His family was very important to him, and getting home to be the family. And I mean, I've heard stories where he had chances to be champion, and he's like, I can't do it because this is going on, and it's more important. And it's it's a hard struggle in this business. It's probably easier when you're young and you don't have a lot of responsibilities. You can go out there. It makes it really easy to do it. But, at a certain point in time, when you got a lot of other things, it can make it a harder life. You've got to make that choice,
Yeah, it like right now, I don't get to see Titus much because he's gone so much. Abigail, I get to see a lot. Bishop, I see every day. But
Yeah.
like my youngest son, Zira, in the Philippines, I only get to video chat with him, and it fucking breaks my heart sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's not a wrestling thing. That's just a logistical thing. But
Yeah.
if you see a wrestler that puts his family first and you hang out with them and their family, you could tell the fucking difference on what that guy means to his family. Like when I would see Roddy with Colt and with Fallon and all the kids, and with Kitty, his wife, dude, it was just like, man, you were just like, holy shit, this is like the perfect family. Like he's just such a good fucking guy.
Yeah.
You could just tell that that they were just loved, and they were never without their dad in their life. And it was just awesome to see, man. Just fucking so awesome to see. And Colt was a really good kid, man, and he really valued his father, and the girls too. The girls were always at ringside in the show. Sometimes on the episode you'll see them and Kitty sitting at ringside front row. So it's just he was just a really good man, dude. And doesn't get enough credit for what he did, not only in the business but outside the business.
Yeah, no, Piper did a lot. I don't know if anybody will ever understand that unless you really deep dive into Piper's history, not just going back into WWE Network or whatever they call it these days. If you really go find him everywhere and all the stuff he did, because I mean, what a lot of people don't know is Piper was a West Coast boy. I mean, he was Oregon. I mean, he was that area. I mean, he started out here, and he was no games. But
yeah, and he would never run against Don Owen. When WWE came to town and Don Owen was he wouldn't wrestle for WWE that day because he respected Don Owen so much. And that's one of those things where I'm like, dude, you don't find guys like that anymore.
No.
You don't find guys that sacrifice like that for something they believe in, something they care about. So yeah, it's definitely one of a kind.
No, it's definitely a different world. And if I could instill anything in these younger kids, it's always remember loyalty. Always remember those who brought you, because loyalty will take you a long ways in this world. Just being loyal, being there, because they don't teach loyalty like they used to in life.
No, not at all. No, not at all.
But no, it's been a lot of fun. I hope Mr. Z you're okay, because I know we talked to JR Kratos' name's gotten out there. Titus Alexander. One day all the stars will align, and you'll get we'll get to add these names to the Choppy Hall of Fame. Who knows? Maybe.
Real quick. I'm already afraid because this man decided to say he's going to Vegas too. So I'm really afraid for my life at the moment.
I already got my room. It's all set in place now. So that's going to be fun. I couldn't find anybody that wants to go with. But we're going to have fun. And if I find somebody on the street that we can get to join the Choppy Hall of Fame, we may not be going to WrestleMania, but we'll be hopefully going to a lot of other independent shows, hopefully meeting some other people within the business that we can help promote on this channel. Would be lots of fun. But if we run into a Jacob Fatu or any other names out there, but we know that one day your destiny will cross. We'll get Titus Alexander on that, and I know Kratos has already said yes. We just got to get all the stars aligned. Because what did he say? There's a bear shit in the woods.
Yes.
So, no, it's been an awesome time. We always love having you on, sir. You're just a wealth of knowledge. We've talked about the show. Again, Ugly Dojo, Jackrabbit Brewery in West Sacramento. It is at 1232 Terminal Street, West Sac. All ages, $15. Doors open at 6:30. and it's a stacked card. Is there anything else you want to say before we go tonight, sir?
Nah, man, just want to tell all the young wrestlers out there, man, keep grinding, keep doing your thing, get out, travel. All the promoters, hey, man, give these kids a chance. You know, vets, don't be nervous on working a greenhorn, make them better. So bigger, you know, the better guys in the area, bigger payouts. And also, I want to just give a shout out to all my kids, Titus, Abigail, Salem, Zira. Love you all to death. Thanks for being on this journey with me. And final shout out, besides to all my students, I want to thank you guys for what you guys are doing for wrestling in our area, man. It's been needed for a while, and you guys are doing it right. And like I said, just keep grinding, man. It'll
Yes.
happen in about a year. We'll look back and see your numbers will be huge, and the people you'll be having on will be awesome, man. Just have faith, man. Have faith.
No, it's definitely just one of those things. It can get hard at times when you're like, okay, where do we get to that next step? What's that next big one? We've asked, we've knocked on doors, and we've got some rejections, but we're always finding that next one, and we're starting to get names that, I know Travis Alexander says he wants to be on the show one day. We just talked with the 8th Day from Texas. They're like, hey, maybe we can do something. You were talking to somebody, Mr. Z, at the last show that was even interested. I forget his name.
Oh man, I can't. It's right at the top of my head. I can't think of it at the moment.
He was out of Vegas, and yeah. So I mean, there's
RBJ said yes. Yeah, RBJ.
So we're starting to get there, and it's like now we're going to work with California Championship Wrestling because we were at the right place, the right time. We got to meet the people that kind of are behind the scenes in that, and they opened their doors. And I mean, even for us, we're going to Puppet Wars on March 1st. And then, of course, after this show, March 22nd, next Ugly Dojo Matinee Mayhem show. We are going to double book ourselves that day because we got to be there for you. We appreciate the opportunity to come there and be a part of that. And then once we're done with that, luckily Lodi is on the way home. We're going to stop off in Lodi, and we got Realm of Warriors Championship Wrestling. Of course, SPW with their new show announced on the 16th of March, which is They're Not Us, I believe that is.
Yes.
They're not like us. They're not like us, right?
Not like us. Not like us. Yeah, not like us.
So March is going to be fun, busy, and we're excited. And we thank you for that. And we will see you tomorrow. And we hope to see everybody else at the show tomorrow because this is going to be a great show. Let's pack out this building. You won't regret it. I mean, I can't tell you there'll be a bad match on this card. Everybody here is going to be worth your night. It's Friday night. What a great way to end the week with some great wrestling.
Definitely. Thanks, guys.
All right. We will see you all on the next one.